If you could live in a palace for a month with all necessities provided, would you agree to it? That sounds like a fabulous offer, I know. I'd surely take that offer if given the chance. But castles weren't made for fantasy centuries back. It was a sign of class. Classifications by economic status are nothing new. Hundreds of years ago, there have always been such classifications going on, not only in the form of clothing. Wealthy people also show off their wealth by residing in palaces. Most people who lived in palaces were members of the royal family or those high-ranking officials back then. The walls are not only used figuratively anymore. Apart from the obvious social classes present in societies, the actual walls that protect the palaces are extremely high. If you climb the walls, it would surely take you days to reach the top. That is, if the guards won't catch you climbing the walls of the wealthiest people in the palace. Cross your fingers! Today we are taking you to the insides of the most luxurious castles in the world. Before we go on with the list, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe to this YouTube channel to stay updated on the latest in the luxury world. At Luxury Mindset, we bring you all luxurious information ranging from items, cars, houses, places, and even people who bathe in luxury. Not only that, but we also give you pretty much the amount you would need to purchase any of these luxurious stuff. So if you are interested in the rich, becoming rich, or even dreaming of lying on a mattress of gold or dollar bills, click the notification bell to keep yourself updated on this channel. 10th on the list, we have the Topkapi Palace, which is located in the east of the Faith District in Istanbul, Turkey. The palace is now open to sightseeing since it had been named a heritage site by UNESCO. This palace was constructed between 1460 and 1478 by Sultan Mehmed II upon his success in conquering Constantinople. Other Ottoman sultans and their court also lived in the palace and input something to the palace's designs, making it now a unique combination of Islamic, European, and Ottoman architectural styles. Although no sultan resides there now, it can still accommodate a king in their palace. Topkapi Palace has 4 courtyards, Ottoman armor, weapons, and a portrait gallery that exhibits masterful Ottoman artwork throughout the centuries. A castle in Turkey will not be complete unless they have a bath complex designed for beauty and relaxation. And of course, an aviary plus flowering gardens could pass being the indicator of a palace itself. If you are interested in Ottomans and so on, this palace may have caught your interest already. 9th on our list is the castle which, after 500 years, remains famous for its history and architecture, the Stirling Castle. It was built in 1940, and this castle was originally a military fortress that was home to kings and queens back in the 15th and 16th centuries. So the people can see possible attacks by watching over the lowland. Apart from that, King James IV, King James V, and King James VI used this palace as their royal center. This palace is a combination of English, French, and German-influenced designs. Well, you can say that these kings are keen to design, as this palace's amazing architecture still leaves people in awe. Upon the $12 million restoration, this palace became an attraction or even a venue for concerts. Its tapestry gallery and restored bathrooms can now accommodate many people. Some popular movies were shot in Stirling Palace, such as the ever-famous Game of Thrones, Outlander, Elizabeth the Golden Age, and so much more. If you enter the palace, you can see the cannon directed towards the lowland, waiting for attackers. Although that's not the case now anymore. We have Eltz Castle as the 8th castle on the list. It was first built in 1137 with the ambience of a dramatic rise in the German forest. Eltz Castle is a medieval castle nestled in the hills above the Moselle between Koblenz and Trier, Germany. It is still owned by a branch of the House of Eltz, which has lived there since the 12th century. This 80-room castle is home to the Holy Roman Empire. The royal family housed by this castle opposed the local archbishop's rule, hence the siege that lasted 2 years. Despite the wars this palace has faced, Its beauty and strong aura remained after 1,000 years. It is now turned into a museum, and what you can see inside are the porcelain artifacts, suits, and armors. The journey to Eltz Castle wasn't always rainbows and sunshine. The dynasty owned much of the castle in the 1800s, but things didn't go as planned and lost most of its riches, making people migrate to other places, such as the United States, while some partook in the Revolutionary War. We have the 7th castle on the list, Windsor Castle. After the invasion of England by William the Conqueror in the 11th century, this castle was built. Windsor Castle has become the longest palace to house the reigning royal families throughout centuries. Windsor Castle oversees the River Thames and has 3 wards surrounding a central mound. The garden that welcomes the visitors and the forest that was used as hunting grounds now became a place of recreation for the royal family and the visitors. It has survived the extreme period of the English, and even Queen Elizabeth II has been visiting the palace on the weekends until her passing. The royal family also hosts parties in the palace, given that it's the biggest and the oldest occupied castle in the world. This palace costs around $236 million, but this is nothing compared to the royal family's very own Buckingham Palace, which costs $5 billion. 6th on the list, Chateau de Chambord. This is by far the most recognizable chateau in the world because of its very distinctive French Renaissance architecture. Located in the Loire Valley, it was built as a hunting lodge for Francis I. It was built from 1519 to 1547, quite a long time but understandable, given the original purpose and the size of the palace. The palace has so much beauty in it that choosing a part of it that stands out becomes a dilemma. Apparently, the eye-catching double spiral staircase was Leonardo da Vinci's suggested design, but no confirmation has been made. When Francis I commissioned the construction of Chambord, the skyline of Constantinople was the reference, with a 13,000-acre wooded park and game reserve that is home to native red deer and other animals, enclosed by a 19-mile wall. You can definitely say that this palace is a paradise between the walls. If you are into anime or anything kawaii, you would definitely look into Japan and get ignited to visit the country. But did you know that apart from its current trend of cuteness, Japan is full of historical places that they take pride in? One of these architectural places is the 5th castle we have on the list, the Himeji Castle. It is a reflection of classical Japanese castle architecture. It was originally built as a fortress in 1300 and is now one of the 5 structures that are considered a national treasure in Hyogo Prefecture. Covered in fir trees and Japanese cypress, this 533-hectare architecture was featured in some big foreign and Japanese films like James Bond's You Only Live Twice and Akira Kurosawa's Kagemusha and Ran. This amazing castle raked in over $2 million in 2015. It is the largest and most visited castle in the country, so you shouldn't miss it if you come to Japan. 4th, we have Edinburgh Castle. Overlooking modern-day Scotland, this ancient castle holds a lot of sad history. This fortress was considered the most seized and the most attacked on Earth, being seized 26 times. Wars like the Scottish independence in the 1400s and the Jacobite Rising both happened here. This castle has been occupied since the Iron Age and is known for being the oldest fortified palace in Europe, with a long history as a royal residence, military garrison, prison, and fortress. However, it is now a must-see castle with over 2 million visitors since it has become a museum. That area must have been stepped on by kings, queens, and even soldiers. Apart from that, concerts in the Royal Edinburgh Military Tattoo, the annual military festival, are celebrated outside the castle drawbridge. 3rd, we have Versailles Palace, the former residence and center of government in France, which has become a landmark in recent days. Located in the northern region of France, this French palace served as a small hunting lodge and a private retreat for Louis XIII and his family. The preserved walls of this castle served as the exterior facade that overlooks the marble court. Years later, it was transformed into a gigantic and complex palace with French and English gardens surrounding the area. With inflation rising, its price now reaches up to $300 billion. That sure does make sense since it's filled with the famous silver and gold-coated mirrors and ornate chandeliers that would make you take a double look. Apart from the eye-catching mirrors, this place takes pride in the salons filled with gold as well. An example of that is the Mercury Salon, or the King's Grand Apartment in the Chateau of Versailles, Louis XIV's ceremonial chamber. It was restored in 2011 and 2012. The interiors are surely something you would wish to see, but the exteriors can compete with its beauty as well. The fountains that riffle, the captivating canals that look like swimming pools, and the flower beds that are lined in geometry all welcome the millions of annual guests and tourists that flock over the palace, even more than the ever-famous Eiffel Tower. We are down to the second captivating castle, that is the Malbork Castle. Located in Malbork, Poland, this castle was made by the Teutonic Knights in the 13th century. The Polish royalty resided in this castle from 1457 until 1772, as it was sold to King Casimir IV by the Bohemian mercenaries in subsidy for the war that lasted for 13 years. Royals from different centuries made use of the river by cruising and boating, especially during the summer. Apart from the castle, Poland also has ambers, hence the amber exhibit that one wing of this castle holds. Malbork Castle resembles a medieval fortress and is the world's largest brick castle. In 1997, UNESCO designated the Castle of the Teutonic Order in Malbork and the Malbork Castle Museum as World Heritage Site, making it a great destination for tourists who are interested in architecture or even historical places. And now, the first ranking castle on the list, the reference for Disney's Sleeping Beauty's castle, the Neuschwanstein Castle. This icon was a finalist of the 7 Wonders of the World and is currently priced at $950 million. Not gonna lie, it's quite expensive, but this castle needed so much for construction. In order to be finished between 1880 and 1881, it needed 465 tons of Salzburg marbles, 1,550 tons of sandstones, 400,000 bricks, and 2,680 yards of wool scaffolding. No wonder the high price of this extravagant palace is now as high as its peak. This beauty stands tall in the mountains like a ship floating on the water. It stays afloat in the trees that surround it. If you're a fan of Disney, particularly the movie Beauty and the Beast, this castle should be one of the many places on your bucket list. So which among the 10 castles would you live in if you had the chance? Mine would be the Neuschwanstein Castle. I'd read books on the terrace and wait for my beast turned Prince Charming to transform. How about you? Leave us a comment stating your favorite castle and why. We love to read your answers. How did this video appear to you? If you like videos like these, don't forget to hit like and subscribe to this YouTube channel as we bring you the latest in the luxury world. Also, don't forget to click the notification bell so you would be notified once we upload another video. Mind you, we have more coming up that may suit your interests. That's it for this video. We'll see you in the next one.